As for myself, you may call me Eva Tsunaka. If that happened, shouldn't there have been streaks of blood on the floor? Or in the hallway? Moving on, until eventually dying from her wounds. An elephant in the room? Well, what was the motive? Was the killer fighting for their life? Or were they going out of their way to murder? We shouldn't make a lot of assumptions about the killer's morals. This could have been self-defense, but how can we do that? There's no reason to trust you if you have no proof. I'm glad you agree, but how does this prove anything? I don't see how that relates to his point. You trust him? Why? I understand that, but shouldn't we consider the killer's point of view? The victim was carrying a gun at the time of the murder. It's possible they were also trying to kill someone. Right, the killer was definitely excessive with the stabbing, but they could have been overwhelmed with emotion. In fact, the trap doesn't even work unless someone from the outside opens the door. The killer might have actually been protecting themselves. Huh? You don't think the killer could have taken those items? The bleach, ladder, and bucket were all in the janitor's closet. They were easy to grab. What are you talking about? The weapon is real. I looked at it myself. I suppose I can't dispute that. Even if I did, it's not worth pursuing. While being stabbed, the victim tried to fight back by clawing at the killer. This left the dried blood under her fingernails. However, it didn't deter the killer, and the victim eventually died. Damon and I also attended the tournament. We can also vouch for Grace. Yeah, I was with Grace. She can confirm being with me too. The clothes are understandable, maybe. But why was golfing equipment in the room? Since the room swap happened the night after we implemented the bunk buddy system, that would mean Grace and Wolfgang have been bunking for about a day and a half. Ugh, gross. If the person being blackmailed wasn't the one who wrote the note, who was? Oh, I knew that. Yeah, it's like doing a jigsaw puzzle without the box art to help you. Obviously, the case. The more pieces you connect, the clearer the image you're constructing becomes. The clearer the image, the more you can assume about it. Do you see what I'm saying? Once we know how Wolfgang died, the rest of this case should fall into place. I woke up first. Right, Damon. You and I both know that's not true. Did you forget? It's impossible for the water in the boiler room to play a role in Wolfgang's murder, because it isn't even conductive. After Damon and I woke up in the boiler room, I wanted to investigate the flooded area, so I tested the water. I even redid my test during the investigation, since Damon wasn't sure if he should touch Wolfgang's wet clothes. In both instances, I proved the water was safe to enter. To be honest, neither result really surprised me. Water will only act as a conductor if it makes contact with two separate energy sources. The boiler room's generator is just one source. But the generator is a slow, persistent source of electricity. It's not the same as a lightning strike. It doesn't make sense for the generator to pose a danger anyway. The point of the killing game is for the students to kill each other, not for the facility to kill the students. A feature of the building killing a student would be a meaningless death because you can't attribute a student killer to it. Can you repeat that quote, Cassidy? Yeah, but I want you to say it again. If Desmond's testimony is anything to go by, then wouldn't this mean the culprit has to be male? If I remember correctly, all the guys were aware of each other's pairings. With that sort of knowledge, a male student could try and infiltrate another male student's dorm. Yeah. Besides the burns on his hands, Wolfgang also had a bruise and a tiny red dot on the back of his neck. Okay, let's discuss the bruise first. I heard the footsteps. Well, I initially thought it was my imagination, so I never said anything. We already can find the killer, though. I'm completely serious. Picture a map of the building complex in your head. The building with the dorms is on the left, the courtyard is in the middle, and the building with the tree is on the right. Now, try and pin everyone's locations during Wolfgang's murder. Once you do that, the identity of the killer will definitely become clear. If she's the person who fled the boiler room, those footsteps we heard make a lot more sense. Heels make a pretty loud clop sound on hard floors, and the underground hallway's floor is pretty hard. Diana would obviously want to take them off. Also, heels aren't comfy to run in. During the brief amount of time we were together, I never saw you leave. What you did after I left for the game tournament, however, is anyone's guess. For that reason, I left Diana's dorm at 8:05 a.m. I know the exact time since her room has a clock. I probably entered the dining hall around 8:10 a.m.-ish. A knife isn't super hard to find either. Wolfgang probably just stole one from the kitchen. As Diana's bunking partner, I've seen firsthand how many different cosmetics are inside her room. So unfortunately, I have to agree. Nothing inside the closets could be used to block a door. The items in there are all small things. Then Diana wouldn't be able to escape. What if you're still not bored, even when we think we've solved the case? It's obviously Diana. She's the only one without an alibi for the murder. I don't remember any of this. Well, stranger people do exist. We did. The generator has nothing to do with Wolfgang's death. Its wires weren't touching the water. The taser gun is the only option which makes sense. The murder weapon can't be anything else. And anyway, the only proof Diana never shot the taser is her own word. All the evidence supporting your version of events is circumstantial. The note you showed us? That could be a fake alibi you made for yourself. The fact that it has the same handwriting as Wolfgang's is already suspicious. If you earnestly believe Diana didn't write it, then maybe. But do you see what I'm saying? There's no proof Diana never wrote the notes. There's only her word to go by. Because if she did write them, everything about her entering the boiler room at 8:45 a.m. and being locked inside could be a total lie. That's also circumstantial. None of us know what really went on between those two in an hour. Ruling someone out because they took a long time to murder is stupid, okay? But who would enter? No one wants to make a detour down some gross, freaky-looking basement. The boiler room is probably the most covert place a person can be. Diana claims she didn't write the notes, and she claims she didn't shoot the gun. But where's the hard proof she didn't do any of these things? What? Probably. There's no proof anything besides the taser was involved. That's not significant enough proof. Well, what's the reaction time of a lithium battery? When a lithium battery hits the water, how long does it take to combust? I think, once we know that, we can decide whether or not the battery is relevant to the case. Okay? If the reaction is instantaneous, then the battery would have entered the water only seconds before the generator exploded. That's really weird. According to Diana's testimony, when the explosion happened, she was still holding the taser gun. In which case, who threw the battery into the water? It was only Diana and Wolfgang in the boiler room. So unless Diana herself was the one to throw the battery, then the battery can't play a part in the murder. If the battery is related to the case, only Diana could have thrown it in the water. Damon, Diana was the only other person in the boiler room. Yeah, like Diana. Well, I've been through those closets twice now, and I never saw scissors. I didn't see pliers either. What? Me too. I meant I was watching Kai and Damon play. Huh? I didn't flip the vent. Damon says a lot of things. His theory is full of plot holes. He just refuses to point them out. The cord. In retrospect, you were so quick to accuse me that you overlooked a huge problem with the cord. If I'm the killer, how did I dispose of it? Someone would have noticed me fiddling with the vent. I went with you guys to investigate. That would have been impossible. It's impossible. Wolfgang even got mad at me for being late to the dining hall by a few minutes. I've been watched the entire time I've been here. There's no way Jet wouldn't have noticed me taking his battery. And anyway, how could I enter the cord through the boiler room vent when I can't even reach the top of the generator? If anything, you should be suspicious of the taller students. I'm not tall enough to reach that high. I'm not tall enough to reach that high. If I can't reach the vent, how could I reach the camera? That's setting myself up. Removing a box would reduce the amounts of boxes on the platform from 3 to 2. I'm saying Damon would have noticed if a box was missing, since there's so few of them to start with. But he never noticed anything, because there were just as many boxes as there were last time. Then the underside of the box would be wet, which it wasn't. Okay, I could have used the boxes to reach the top of the generator, and I could have fit the cord through both vents if I inserted the right plug. I can do both of those things without attracting suspicion. What I can't do without attracting suspicion is opening the vent, the dining hall one. Based on what Damon's saying, it needs to be opened for the killer's trap to work. But opening it during the tournament is asking to be caught, and opening it before the tournament is useless because Jet, Cassidy, and Mark would see it while setting up. See? There's no way I can execute this trap without being caught. It's a stupid trap anyway. All the cord and vent stuff is too complicated. There's a billion ways it could go wrong. Damon's just making stuff up. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You can't say I'm the murderer just because I sat near a vent. Even if this trap was used, you can't guarantee it operated the way Damon described. Well, the battery could have been tied to the extension cord with a special knot which can untie by itself after a bit of time passes. Evidence. No one here cares about evidence. I just happened to be at the game tournament, and now you're saying I'm a killer. Are you a moron? I was literally right there. See? Even Damon agrees. Why would I when Cassidy just said the vent was closed during setup? Huh? How I closed the vent. No one has explained how I closed the dining hall vent. Obviously, I didn't do it during the blackout. According to Damon, the blackout can only happen after the vent is closed. So, I must have stood up, gone behind the chair, and closed the vent during the tournament. That's stupid. Someone is definitely going to notice that sort of conspicuous movement. It doesn't matter if that someone is on the opposite side of the room. They're going to notice. This isn't funny. Just because I was sitting in front of the vent doesn't mean I was the one who triggered the mechanism. That's just dumb. Where I was sitting shouldn't make me a murderer. Everything? Did you already forget what was said earlier? Just look at all the items I would need to set up this murder. The battery, the extension cord, the rolling pin, the taser, the syringe, and the supposed drug used with it. How could I have collected all of those things? Wolfgang and everyone else hated me because I lied about my talent. They were on their guard whenever I was around. You think Jet and Desmond would just let me walk into their rooms and take their stuff? Unless you can prove I had the chance to get all this stuff, you can't make me out to be the killer. Anyone could. It doesn't mean I did, though. So what? So what if I knew? I wasn't the only one. Damon knew your blackmail as well. Damon knew almost everything I did. He knew where the items used in this murder were stored. He knew the layout of the boiler room and the storage closets. He knew all sorts of things. The only thing he didn't know is the one thing more important than any piece of physical evidence. See, you still don't know. You still don't know that we never saw eye to eye. On Wolfgang, Damon saw the way Wolfgang scolded me and treated me like a bad guy. And he thought I hated him the same way he did. But unlike Damon, I never wanted Wolfgang to die. If you thought you saw the worst of Damon after the dummy trial, you underestimate just how low he can stoop. I practically risked my life pretending to be his ally. But in return, he let me see the extent of his deceitfulness, which is why I can tell everyone that Damon has Wolfgang's blackmail. Well, I didn't think it was incriminating at first. That was weird, but I didn't want to make accusations at the time because it could have just been his ego talking. Only after watching him reject the taser gun over this dumb mechanism he made up did I realize I had potential evidence on my hands. Don't listen to him! He's trying to divert everyone from the truth. He does! He does want bloodshed! We have all the proof he's a cold-blooded killer! Wolfgang's blackmail, which he lied about having! Nothing he says should be trusted. Nothing he says about me, or anything else. Then, you all still think I'm the killer? How would I know? How would I know when to drop it? The battery! Damon says the killer dropped the battery when Diana was already in the boiler room. But how would I know when Diana was in the boiler room? It's not as if I could listen out for her. The music speakers are too loud. And the dining hall has no clocks. So it'd be impossible for me to know if it was 8:45 a.m. We never spoke. I never even got up from my chair. Besides, how could I be sure Diana arrived on time anyway? If you can't explain how I knew when to drop the battery, then shut up and stop accusing me! I wouldn't be able to hear her over the music. You think I guessed? Trying to look into the boiler room through the vent is impossible. Are you kidding me? How the hell would I have access to the camera? Exactly! It's impossible! Huh? You're just trying to make me look bad. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just jealous of me. No! I don't have to show anyone anything. It's not suspicious. I'm telling the truth. That's such twisted logic. You're going to vote for me without being completely sure I'm even guilty? It's not fair. This isn't fair. This isn't fair. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. Who cares about the camera? I just wanted to help. This isn't fair. It's Damon who's suspicious. I didn't see anything. Why would I kill anyone? Ouch! Lame! Shut up! Stop it! No! Don't kill me! Aha! Take that! Yeah! See what I can do? I told you so! How could I access the security camera? Damon, I thought you trusted me. Why won't you believe me? I'm fine. Just look through the window already. Everyone, stop right now. It's because I trust you. Because I felt powerless. That's how it ended up this way. I'm going to live! I want to live. I deserve to live. I'm going to live. I'm going to live! Hello, look, correct. Can't you see? I'm talking. Moving on. Moving on. I'm out. Goodbye. Bye. Bye. However, well, no. So, is that really true? Is that really true? Listen to me. Listen to me. Look at this. Interesting. Strange. Weird. You see? Not sure. As I was saying, get to the point. Get to the point. Get to the point. Deal with it. It's the truth. Stupid. Stupid. Moron. Rage. Can't you see? Gah. Hang on. Huh. Thanks. That's pretty cool. What could it be? Thinking. Absolutely not. Gross. Super gross. How humiliating. Save it. Not interested. Bleh. It's not fair. But most of all, I don't want to. It's like one of my Japanese animes.